It's called Cutout Witch. You can find this on the new Guided by Voices record, Under the Bushes, Under the Stars from Matador Records. We're hearing a live performance in studio. Morning Becomes Eclectic on KCRW. I'm Chris Doritas, Bob Pollard, vocals, Tobin Sprout, lead guitar, backup vocals. We also have Mitch Mitchell, guitar, Kevin Fennell, drums, and Matt Sweeney, special guest on bass, Matt Sweeney of Chavez, in for Greg Demos, who is still the bassist for the studio side of the band, right?
Yeah, he's our bassist. You know, we've decided, you know, he quit our band to become a lawyer, and at the time I was a little bit upset and, you know, said, hey, well, you know, you can't have your cake and eat it too, because he still wanted to remain in the band. But, you know, he's so good that we decided, hey, you know, it's worth it. For whenever you can do it, join us, please.
So, does he sometimes join you then out in live performance, maybe around Dayton and
if it's like the Dayton shows weekend, he'll travel with us on the weekends, and then any like special show where we can be flown in, you know, he'll do that kind of thing. You know,
I see. So, like if you do say Letterman or something like that.
Yeah, he'll do the Letterman thing.
Okay. Guided by Voices were in town last week for shows at the Whiskey last Thursday, Friday. In terms of other live performances around Southern California, this is it for the moment. This new album is 24 tracks strong, whittled down from, God, I know one edition of the record had like 60 tracks recorded. How many did you make for this album?
Well, we usually record typically maybe 100 songs for a record. You know, it's you got a good ratio. If you can come up with 10% out of 15% out of 100, it's going to be
100 songs per album, and then you whittle them down.
Yeah, one of these days we're just going to put all 100 out in a box set.
Now, I heard once, Bob, that while sitting on the pot, you can write 5 songs. Is that true?
And 3 of them are good.
Yeah. I mean, where are they coming from? Where?
I'm guided by voices. Hey, I don't know. I'm a channel.
Do you know? I mean, do you see any particular pattern to when the prolific nature sets in, or?
Nah, just every once in a while, I feel like writing songs, you know, and just it maybe once every couple of weeks or so, you know, and you know, I just have, I don't know, I'm getting up there in age, and I've been around through all the periods of rock, and I have this catalog of melodies in my head from the British invasion on. So like it's pretty easy, you know, especially since I learned how to play guitar a little bit, you know.
Now, how do you keep track of them? Do you keep a notebook with you? Do you?
Notebook.
Yeah.
Notebook, totally notebook and cassette. Notebook and cassette, so how I do it.
And I understand that the songs really come to you as sort of vocal riffs, so that you
a lot of times
work out in your head.
Yeah, nonsense syllables and vocal riffs and things. You know, a lot of times I start with lyrics and titles. Sometimes it's best if I can come up with some really interesting titles and then work my way backwards, kind of, you know.
So you riff on them vocally, and then you build a song around them.
Mm-hmm.
I see. And then your burgeoning guitar playing is helping you.
It's helping tremendously. I know every chord. I just don't know the names of them.
Okay, and it probably helps you express them to Tobin.
Yeah,
so that
yeah.
Then it becomes more of a band thing, right? At that point.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would guess. Now, on your side of things, Bob, the lyrics, like you say, tend to be a little nonsensical, even though they are becoming more and more story-oriented.
Mm-hmm.
Tobin, whose songs are starting to creep more and more into the catalog, are really more story-driven songs, right, Tob?
Yeah, pretty much. I try to create, I don't know, more.
Toby writes all the songs for his wife and kids.
Yeah, they're all love songs and
love songs and family songs.
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful, being a family man. Now, all of these songs are finding their way out eventually. I know that the record company's been trying to like hold back the flood and keep you guys on a track to where the albums aren't coming constantly.
The floodgate is about to be opened.
Yeah, that's what I hear. You've got a solo album. Tobin has a solo album.
Then we got 12-inch EP. Go ahead, Tob.
Yeah, then we've got 2 EPs coming out.
Within the next couple months, right?
Another single from the album.
Another single.
And that'll be laden with extra tracks, right?
Oh, yeah.
And when are the solo albums coming?
August, I think.
Yeah, in August, and then the EPs will follow.
Okay.
Probably in September.
Yeah, we have a picture disc coming out in Europe too. That's some kind of picture disc thing. So we got all this kind of stuff coming out.
Yeah. So there's really.
Well, that's good. You know, we went through that period where we released just a ton of stuff.
And you're not worried about the deluge. You're not worried about
too
much exposure.
I'm not. I can understand where that might happen, but I don't care. No, I just want to put out records.
Because it really is about getting it out of your system, right? And just getting the stuff out there.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
Now, as is custom, the songs are always a minute or two long. I don't know. I think their longest song is probably what, 2.5 minutes? Or
Yeah,
something?
well, we actually on the new album we have a couple that are pushing up around the 4-minute mark, if you can believe that.
Now, the real reason that they're so short is because there's a lack of soloing. There's you don't have the guitar break in there. Is this custom for a song these days?
Yeah. I don't see the need to like repeat choruses too many times, or like to add bridges where they're not necessary, just for the sake of radio airplay or whatever. I don't know.
Sounds like you have a short attention span.
I do. It's from being around kids with short attention spans all my life,
I guess so. Your work as a teacher for what, 14 years or something?
Yeah, 14 years.
Elementary teacher, which you've given up, of course, and haven't been doing for what, 4 years or something?
Just 2 years. It'll be 2 years coming in June.
Okay.
2 years that I've been out of the classroom.
Do you miss that?
Yeah, a little bit, but I don't miss a lot of the pressures involved. So, I like life better now. So.
Well, I wonder if it's affected your inspiration at all. I mean, I would imagine being around kids is quite an inspiration.
I think I was a little bit more whimsical when I taught. The images in my songs were a little less mature, I think, which I like. So.
And now they're becoming more of the real world?
Yeah, a little bit. Now I'm singing about airplanes and accountants. I used to sing about vampires and ghosts.
We have Guided by Voices in studio. Morning becomes eclectic on KCRW.